Hi, this is Stan. Welcome back to the Crow's Nest Railroad. Well, we don't have any passing sidings or points or turntables, but we do have this piece of metal. So this is going to have to do for now. Well, let me go get the train and I'll pull it in front, and you can see how we're going to attempt to turn the locomotive around and run the train in the opposite direction without a turntable and without a passing siding. Alright, so here's the plan. We've got a piece of sheet steel that I got at the metal shop. Set that down there. And I also made a small cart, 3/4 inch piece of plywood. And then I've got some, I think this is 5/8 or 1/2 inch. Anyway, what I tried to do with this little roll around cart is to get it approximately the same height as the rail. So hopefully you'll be able to see how that works in a second. So let's back up Rodney here. Okay, so no lifting so far. That's the point, is to be able to turn them around without a lot of lifting. So I think as long as I'm careful, I have to know where the two wheel sets are. I think we can spin them around this way. Alright, there he is. No lifting required so far. But that might not be the final answer, because I don't necessarily want him to be pushing the train. Normally we go in this direction, but if I want the whole train to go in this direction without a passing siding, we've got to slide Rodney around. So here's what I'm thinking. Be able to put him on this metal plate and slide him onto this transfer table. So let's try that. Okay, now he's on the cart. I can of course spin him around or do whatever now that he's on the cart, but we can move him back here, move our panel. Slide our train to the other side. And we can put Rodney back on the rails. Just like that. So you can see the height of that little cart is important. It supports the piece of metal, so Rodney can't tip and fall off. And we can spin him around, move him around, and get the job done that way. So the whole point of this is for me not to have to just deadlift the equipment, which isn't good for the back. And you know, equipment can always hit the ground unexpectedly when you're moving it around, so you have to be really careful. But so if I want the train to go in this direction, kind of clockwise around the track, since I normally run it anti-clockwise, I would prefer to turn this car around as well. So I'm going to use our same piece of metal and see if I can easily turn this car around without completely carrying it up off the track and setting it down again. So let's give that a whirl. Okay, so I have one truck setting on the metal, so I should be able to pick up the back end, which is only half the weight of the whole car, and walk it around. I think that's going to work out great. Not much lifting at all. Well, I'm going to rate that as a win, so I really don't have to lift Rodney at all, just be spinning him around and pushing him around, and I only really need to lift half of any of the wagons, and I can really pick an entire wagon up just deadlifting it. I'd rather not do that, but it's pretty easy to do. But I only have to manage half of it, just spinning around, and just to be careful where the trucks are located so that they're somewhat centered on that piece of metal. Hey, hold on a second. So I'm watching this footage as I'm editing the scenes together, and I realized that I was doing a very, very clumsy transfer between this plate on the track and this little roll-around cart. And I guess I wasn't thinking very clearly at the time. So you remember that I had this cart spun around this way, and basically I was wiggling the locomotive onto the cart this way, which was just not a very smooth operation. Plus the sheet and the cart were very easily getting separated from one another. So what I did is I drilled a couple holes in this panel and in the cart, so the cart and the panel are trapped together. And what I should do is pivot the locomotive like this and draw it onto the cart this way. That makes a lot more sense rather than trying to slide those flanges on this plywood here. But still, it's an unnecessary move, and that way everything is supported and the cart can't get separated from the metal plate. So I think this move here is a lot better than what I filmed before. Well, anyway, okay, back to real time. I hope that was interesting and maybe gave you an idea for your layout if you don't have a turntable or a siding at this point. Well, I'm going to say thanks so much for watching. I'm going to put Rodney back to bed in the train barn, and I'll see you right here next time.